Good evening, everybody. I'm James Thomas Schauer, Executive Director of the American Guild of Organists, and I'm delighted to have you with me and with all of us here today for our Chapter Leader Town Hall. Our theme is change, what the AGO is doing, and what chapters can do. I want to extend a warm welcome to all chapter leaders, and especially my thanks to those chapter officers whose terms will be ending at the end of the month. Thank you for your leadership and for your service. Now, as I think you know, we are fast approaching our regional convention season coming upon us. Regional conventions are all still welcoming new registrations. And since you're a chapter leader, it would be good if you attend a regional convention or delegate someone to attend on your behalf. Every chapter should be represented. And it would be really helpful if every chapter can help underwrite, even a little bit, the representative who might go from your chapter to the regional convention. Over the weekend, I had an opportunity to read a book about leadership, and I want to recommend it to you. I'll put it in the chat in a minute, but it's called The Wisdom of the Bullfrog. Fabulous, short, easy book, but really insightful. Very concise, pithy book. It's written by Admiral William H. McRaven, U.S. Navy retired, and it has many, many excellent leadership lessons in short little parable forms and short little chapters. I recommend it highly for all leaders. The Wisdom of the Bullfrog. The bullfrog, he was a Navy SEAL, and the bullfrog is the Navy SEAL with the longest continuing service. So these are lessons that he has learned as the bullfrog, having served so many years as a Navy SEAL. The Wisdom of the Bullfrog. And with that unusual introduction, I'm going to turn it over to the president of the American Guild of Organists, Eileen Hunt.
Thank you, James. Good evening, everyone. I am deeply, deeply honored to have the opportunity to serve as AGO president. And I'd like to thank Elizabeth George and the entire staff for all that you do for our organization. Thank you to all attendees this evening, and especially chapter leaders. You are the lifeblood of AGO. Your National Council is hard at work on implementing our strategic plan and finding ways to better serve our membership in 2023. Among our goals are to deliver meaningful and engaging member experiences to all of our members, to support and uplift every organist, to help chapters of all sizes function effectively. You'll be hearing more about that tonight and our chapter special support teams. And to consistently deliver an achievable and purposeful volunteer experience. We know that everyone's time is very precious and limited, and we're working on restructuring to best utilize our professional staff and our volunteer leadership. So I hope you enjoy tonight's presentation. And without further ado, I would like to turn it over to my colleague, Elizabeth George. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Eileen. And it's great to see everybody here tonight. Thank you for joining us. As Eileen said, you know, we are so mindful now of the time that you have for your leadership responsibilities. And I am constantly trying to think of ways that we can alleviate some of the administrative tasks that we have asked you to do. And if you'd like to send me some suggestions, please do. But as far as leadership training, this year what we're going to be doing is presenting what I'm calling leadership short takes. And they are going to be 30-minute webinars that get straight down to the points of what you need to do. Our first one that is coming up is going to be a week from tonight, and it is called It's All About Relationships, Building a Community Within Your Chapter. And so this is for anyone that is planning programming, whether it's a subdean, a education coordinator, whoever it might be. I hope that you will register for this webinar. We're also going to be helping you with some technology this year. And Felicia Ross, who is our manager of member engagement and chapter support, has planned a wonderful webinar that's going to tell us how to use Google Forms Yes, Google Forms. We're all going to become experts. And this is going to be on Monday, June 26th at 7 o'clock. And it's really going to be particularly helpful for those of you that are constantly having to update your list of substitute organists. This is going to make it so much easier for you. And I just wanted to, before I introduce our membership coordinator, I know some of you have experienced issues with checks that you've sent in or your members have sent in to us and they have been returned. We are dealing with this. Our zip code, actually, we have our own zip code. We are in a very large building with a lot of other denominational associations, and we are all having issues with this. New York State Attorney General has been informed, and the best thing that you can do is to ask your members to please call headquarters, and we will renew their membership with a credit card. Let's alleviate this for the time being and just use credit cards. There's nothing scary about it. I know they're very nervous to do this, but it's password protected. We'll be happy to help them. And I'm really delighted to introduce you to someone who you may not have met, who is our newest team member here, and that is Daniel McCaffrey, who is our membership coordinator, whose voice you probably hear every day on the phone, who is so anxious and willing and helpful when speaking with our chapter leaders and our members. So Dan, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Thank you, Elizabeth. And yeah, I just want to echo what Elizabeth said about paying with a credit card. There have been many mail bounce backs, as I'm sure you may already know. And unfortunately, we don't know the true reason why this is being caused. We do suspect that there is an issue with the zip code, but we do ask that any member who has the capability to do so to pay with a credit card. And I just wanted to add a couple other notes for any members who still, if they don't want to pay with a credit card, they don't have to. They can still send in a check. Just a couple details that they can include that would make the membership renewal process a little bit smoother. So one important thing is some of our members like to send their invoices to their churches or their banks to send a check on their behalf. One very important thing when asking a church or bank to pay on their behalf is to make sure that they know your member ID. This is how we look up our members and make sure that the money that they pay is going to the correct place. So to make sure that they include that with their correspondence with their church or bank. And another thing to note that it should come as a given, but to really make sure that when our members know the amount that they need to pay for their membership. There are times where I receive checks at headquarters, and unfortunately it might be for too much, it might be for too little. And so I think what would be best to do, if you're not sure, you can always give me a call. I'm the one who is at the main line, and so I'm sure many of you recognize my voice, as Elizabeth said. And I'd be happy to communicate with our members about that. But to also check the correspondence that we send via email and mail to make sure they have the correct amounts to send in to us. And I believe Elizabeth has a video prepared about checks. And so I'll pass it off to her, and then she'll introduce our next guest.
Thank you.
Hey, I'll send you what I owe right now.
With services like Venmo and Apple Pay, there are so many ways to send money in an instant.
Just got it right now. Thanks.
And while convenience is great, don't forget there's also checks. Because there's nothing like furiously scribbling on a piece of paper, tearing it, flicking your wrist, and saying,
I trust this will suffice.
Use checks for all your payment needs, including making him leave your daughter.
Take this and never come back. Don't pick up her calls. She'll be heartbroken, but it needs to be done.
Check. And hushing Mildred.
Forget whatever you think you saw last night by the gazebo.
Checks. Use checks for things like
Boy.
Pietro's birthday.
For taking my rings off at night.
Checks. buying poison.
Just one sip, and I become head of the board.
Best of all, checks are easy. Here what day it is. Here his name. Here how much. Here the same, but in letters. And here the secret. Checks.
A check is drama. A check is a promise. Get them in baseball, Daffy Duck, or Michigan State.
Thief!
And make sure to add the dash after the amount, or God knows how many zeros they'll add. Checks. Available at Ridgewood Savings Bank.
Love that video. I've seen it about 5 times now. And I have to thank Eric Burke, who is our executive assistant to James Thomashour, for finding this on the web. It just makes me laugh. And, I think today we all just need a little levity in our lives. So I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. So now I have the great pleasure of introducing to you Felicia Ross, who is our manager of member engagement and chapter support. So Felicia, the floor is yours.
Hi, chapter leaders. Great to be here tonight. As Elizabeth said, I'm Felicia Ross. I'm your manager of member engagement and chapter support. And my role here at the AGO is to create the resources that you chapter leaders need to do your jobs. So as Elizabeth mentioned before, I'll be hosting some short takes and other video trainings, as well as contributing to Elizabeth's fabulous chapter leadership newsletter, which you should read if you don't. And that will just provide short little snippets that you can get through in a moment or two while flicking through your email that give you the tools that you need to make your life as a chapter leader easier. So, I would like to pass it along to Vicki Shapert, our counselor of membership. Take it away, Vicki.
Good evening, everybody. It's so good to be with you. As we mentioned at the beginning, change is afoot, and I know as organists we do so many things. We're really good at multitasking, as we all know. But as a chapter leader, I don't think any of us can be expected to do and know everything about everything. So our chapter specialist support teams that we have put together will help, so you know who to call or who to get in touch with if you have specific questions. So as we kind of look at what each of these teams will do, and I want to thank everybody who volunteered, who sent in forms to volunteer to do all of this. So we have, I think, 7 different teams that we have put together, and you can kind of see we've got marketing and technology and programming, and hopefully you can see what each of those teams will be able to do. And as I said, this isn't to silo us even more, but it's to be a little bit more focused about how we can help you. As we've always said, and I've said a number of times, the Guild is about our members, and I know how stressed and how overworked all of our volunteers are. And we are just trying to do everything we can to kind of alleviate that situation a little bit. So I'm going to introduce everybody who will be in charge of one of these teams, and they will give a little bit of an idea of who they are, maybe a little bit about what they have done within the Guild so far and how they're going to be able to help. So I'm just going to run off real quick the names of our 7 team leaders. Team folks here are going to help us. We've got Mary Stutz. I kind of feel like we should have like cheer sounds in the background, like announcing the starting lineup for the NBA finals or something. But marketing and communication team, Mary Stutz. Membership will be Bonnie Lindner. Technology, Harold Stewart. Programming, Matt Johnson. Education certifications, Carl Kishline. Chapter leadership team, Mark Anderson, and the finance team, Joseph Golden. So I'm going to turn this over to them at this point, and then I think Elizabeth's going to follow up and we'll maybe answer some questions if you have. So let's hear it for the teams.
Hi, I'm Mary Stutz, and our team will be ready to assist your chapter with anything to do with marketing and communications needs. And I'd like to turn it over to Bonnie Lindner of the membership team.
Hi, I'm Bonnie Linder from Colorado Springs, and we are here to help you with your membership, especially those who are already in your chapter. And it's my contention that if we create a community, then we will really have a strong chapter. So I would love to help you with that aspect. I'm not sure.
And now let's bring on Harold Stewart.
Hi, I'm Harold Stewart. I'm helping with technology. My team can help you with anything that has bits and bytes, basically, and we'd be thrilled to help you. I'm expecting to get a bit of a workout as we transition to the new system later this year, but we're happy to help with whatever's needed.
Thank you, Harold. Matt Johnson, who is on our programming team, unfortunately could not be with us tonight, but we do have Carl Kishline, who is going to be part of the education and certification team. I think we have his video. I see him there.
There we are. I'm Carl. I'm the representing the education and certification team from out here on the West Coast. We are here and we look forward to helping you with answering your questions and providing whatever other support you need in this key mission of the Guild, education and certification. I think next is Mark Anderson.
Thank you, Carl. Mark?
Yes, I am Mark Anderson. I and my team will be helping you with leadership skills, whether it's encouraging someone to take a turn at the board or solving problems that you may have, questions about scholarships, anything like that, come to us. We've been there, we've done it.
Thank you, Mark. And last but not least, and unfortunately he couldn't be with us tonight, Joseph Golden is part of our finance team. And they are really there to help you with budgets, really to think about, funding, other ways of increasing your revenue. So he's part of a wonderful team that will be able to assist you if you have any finance questions. And does anybody have any questions that they'd like to post in the Q&A box? Please feel free to. That's what this is about tonight, is to make sure that we can answer your questions. Does anybody have anything? And if you don't think of it now, but you think of it later, while we're still on this town hall, please do post them in there so that we can answer them. So now I have the pleasure of introducing J.W. Arnold, who is actually a neighbor of mine in South Florida. And we're very, very blessed that, my gosh, it's almost been a year since he has joined us as the amazing, I'm sorry. Have I got Josh first? Oh, JW, I'm sorry. Okay, JW, who is our marketing and communication specialist. Forgive me. So JW, you've got some great news to share about our website. I know everybody's going to be excited. So I'm going to turn this over to you.
Well, thank you, Elizabeth, and good evening or good afternoon, depending on where you are. I'm really excited to be with you tonight because we're going to give you the first look at what is going to be the new website for the AGO. And I think the first thing you're going to notice is that it looks nothing like anything you've seen before. Let me share my screen and we'll take a look. We spent a lot of time looking at all the content, the historical content that was currently in our website. We also spent time thinking about what are the needs of our members, our chapters, our visitors, people who maybe are thinking about getting more information about the organ. Maybe they're not a member yet. Maybe they're a teacher. Maybe they're a student. But we wanted to make sure that when they came to this site for the first time, that they found it to be very pleasing and, most importantly, very easily navigable. We wanted to make sure that when someone came, they could get to the information that they would be seeking with just 1 or 2 clicks. And no more of this digging around for 15 minutes looking for that piece of information, because we've tried to anticipate as many needs as we can. And as you'll look, you'll see that we have a couple of menus at the top. The gray menu is kind of our business menu. So that's where, as a member, you'll sign in. That's where you can also access our job center, shop, contact the AGO. And then below that's basically our information navigations. And you can see each of these has a drop down. And we tried to make these as intuitive as possible so that you could find that place to join or renew if you need to. The home for the American AGO Young Organists. Under education, we have a whole range of resources there about our education programs, certification, competitions and scholarships, careers, professional issues, events coming up, conventions, the annual gala, pipe organ encounters, the other things that folks like to go to. And then, of course, there's a place where if you'd like to support the AGO, you can do that also. And as we scroll down, you'll see that what a great image this is. And one of the things that you're going to notice in all of our communications outlets is that we're really putting people first. We want to capture the excitement of the organ and creating music and sharing that with others. And so that main image is always going to be meant to engage and interest the visitor. And just below, we have a series of quick nav buttons that you can go to. When you need to join or renew, it's right there at a click. If you need chapter information, training and webinars, competitions, and here's the entry portal for our young organists. Scroll down just a little bit further and you're going to find the latest issue of the American Organist, where you can catch up on the latest stories and news online if you choose. And we also have a news section, which will be driven by our IMUS database that you're going to learn about a little bit later. So you're always going to have the latest headlines from the AGO right there available on that first homepage visit. And below that, you're going to find upcoming events. And so this is a mock-up. And so we in this one have decided to feature the upcoming pipe organ encounter in Wheaton, Illinois, and a couple of the regional conventions. It's going to be dynamic because it's going to change as the events approach and pass. And so visiting our site from day to day could maybe even end up being a completely different experience depending on the time of the year. And then down at the bottom, you'll see another set of links that we arranged in a little bit different way in terms of popular programs that are most frequently sought. A section to explore where someone who's interested in maybe learning to play the organ or learn about college organ programs can find information there, organ builders and organ links. And then also engagement. There's a place where you can actually sign up to become a volunteer there, manage your account, get access to chapter information again. We tried to really build these things in several different places because we know that people come with different methods and different approaches to find the information they like. So our big job over the next couple of months is to take this framework, which we've very rigorously built out, and we're going to plug in all the information so that when we're ready to go live in September, it'll be there ready to go for you. And so I'm going to turn it over now to our Chief Technology Officer, Josh Freeman, who's going to tell you a little bit about the technology that's powering not only our website, but also is going to be essentially powering the association moving forward. So take it away, Josh.
Thank you, JW. It looks great. I'm really impressed with the work that's going on in working on the front end and the visual aspects of the website. I'm spending most of my time working on the back end and working with our vendors to make sure that all of the data that's in our current association management system which many of you are familiar with. Impact is its name, but many of you log into OnCard to do things like changing your address or changing your email, or seeing your giving history and things like that. All of this is now going to be combined into one tool set. So we're going to have one canonical website for the American Guild of Organists that will serve as both the association management system and make it possible for you to manage your relationship with us. And if you're a volunteer leader, you'll have all sorts of reports that you will be able to use to see how things are going at your chapter level, or if you're on committees, things having to do with your committee. But it will all be happening in one website. I'm looking forward in the future to working with many people who have expressed interest in getting a sneak preview and doing some beta testing as we're getting closer and closer to September when we're going to launch. There's going to be a lot more communications about this as we go forward and get closer to our launch time. But for now, seeing the preview and knowing that there's some exciting changes happening in technology at the Guild is what I can tell you today. So thank you very much for your time. I'm going to hand it over to Molly Davey, who is our Director of Educational Programs. I believe that is her official title, but Molly, you'll correct us if I'm wrong. Thank you.
Education Program Manager. I'm delighted to be here tonight to talk about our newest AGO scholarship, the AGO, or the Organ Scholar Program. Katherine Johnson was recently named the Organ Scholar for 2023-2024. She will start her internship at Duke University Chapel in August and is very excited about the coming year. Now that the 2023-2024 Organ Scholar has been chosen, the cycle starts again. We are looking for a host institution for 2024-2025, and we need your assistance. For those of you who don't know much about this initiative, the Organ Scholar Program is designed to be a skills-based investment in young organists who have a strong interest in church music. Through the combined investments of AGO National Headquarters, a local AGO chapter or chapters, and a host institution, each contributing $10,000, the Organ Scholar will offer a 10-month internship with a salary of $30,000, housing, and health insurance. The housing and health insurance will be provided by the host institution. During the 10-month internship, the Organ Scholar will acquire practical experience through an immersive, full-time church music program. Therefore, the host institution or church should have an active and vibrant music program with a proven and capable leader willing to intentionally mentor the Organ Scholar. Is there an institution or church in your area that fits the bill? If so, I'd love to hear from you. I can be reached at the email address and phone number I just put into the chat. You can also find out more information about the Organ Scholar Program at the web address I put in the chat. Together, we will find a fantastic host. Back to you, Elizabeth.
Thank you, Molly. Thank you. We did have one question, and by the way, everyone is going to get a handout. We will make sure that we have a handout for you. But we did get a question regarding the people that you saw tonight who introduced themselves that are on the chapter's specialist support teams. They are not, some of them are chairing them and some of them aren't. For example, Harold Stewart is already president of our technology team. So, for example, the members of that team will be working with Harold. Mark Anderson, who you saw, who's with chapter leadership, is going to be working with the Committee on Membership Development and Chapter Support. We've tried to interface these teams with existing AGO committees, so there's a seamless support group of knowledge experts. So now, unless there are any other questions that I haven't seen, let's start some polling. I'd like to hear from you tonight about where you are related to a few questions that we have. So, Rex, can you start our polling for us? Here we go. Okay. Have you completed your chapter elections? Yes? No? The election is still in progress. So we're going to give you about 15 seconds, and you can click on that, and then we will be able to show you the results. Okay, what have we got here? All right. Well, that's good news. Some of you have done that. That's wonderful. Or the election's in progress. Very good. All right. Okay. I'm feeling better. That's good. Okay. Did that one. We're going to go on to the next one. If you haven't had elections yet, why was that? Was it because you were unable to form a nominations committee due to lack of people that were interested? You can't find members to serve on your board? Or if you are a small chapter, say under 20 members, you are still recycling board members. So please take a moment to respond, and we'll look at the results. Interesting. Okay. Well, it looks like the nominations committee is leading due to lack of volunteers. And and the same for can't find members willing to serve on our board. Well, let me tell you a little bit about a way to proceed with this. And it starts with creating a leadership pipeline. And sometimes you have to pick up the phone and simply ask someone if they would do one task. It might be calling a member. It might be serving as a chapter ambassador at your next program. It might be doing a profile for the newsletter. Simple micro volunteer opportunities are the way to start building the people who will serve as officers on your chapter board. So I encourage you to do that. If you are having challenges, please do let me know. I'm here to brainstorm with you. We want to make sure that you do have your elections in place, that you do have chapter officers in place. For those of you who have been serving for some time, you've heard me say this is not a lifetime sentence. We don't expect you to live here as a chapter leader as much as we've appreciated all your hard work for the next 10 years, nor do I think you wish to do that. So what we can do is we can have conversations offline about this. We are here to help you and make it as easy as possible. And every chapter is different. Every needs are different. The needs of our small chapters are much different than the needs of our extra large chapters. They all have different needs and requirements. And Felicia and I are here to make sure that we can provide you with the best resources and support that we can. So please don't hesitate to call headquarters or email us. Felicia, what I'd like to do is have you talk a little bit about chapter, actually AGO membership communities. Because for those of you who are really, really small chapters, I know some people are thinking of disbanding. This is an option for you to disband your chapter, but still have a community of people where you can get together. And I won't say any more.
Great, sure. So member communities, what are they? It's for when your membership has dropped below 12 people as mandated in your bylaws. When you have that small leadership pool, you tend to recycle the same officers and it burns people out. So what membership communities can do is offer you a way for members to get together, plan an event. There are funds from any disbanded AGO chapters are put into a special member community fund. And once you plan an event, you can petition to use some of those funds for your event. Let's see. I'm going to put a link to all of our information about member communities in the chat, so you have the full list and description. But that is the general overview. It's just a nice option for those of you who are maybe struggling to find leadership, have burnt out your current volunteer pool, and are looking to still stay in touch with fellow AGO members. So here's that info in the chat. And we do have some questions, Elizabeth, if you'd like to give some space.
Okay, I am looking at these. Let's see what we have here.
Kathleen Cooper would like to know about how chapter web pages will be affected.
Okay. I don't know, Josh, is that something you want to talk about? I'm not sure what you mean, Kathleen, by web pages. Are you talking about websites? If so, there will be links to websites. Josh says she understands what I mean. Josh, do you want to answer? Oh, okay. Websites. Okay. Let me make sure. Anybody else that has any questions about our chapter support teams? Okay. Yes, there will be links to the websites on our page, most definitely. And for those of you who have relied in the past, who didn't have a web page created, you know, we've got a wonderful technology team and chapter specialist support people now who can help you with that, as well as a Facebook page. So I encourage you to reach out to them. Our teams will formally be in place September 1st, but that's no reason why you can't go ahead and ask questions. We're going to have a link set up on our website where you can request help. And ahead of time, I can go ahead and field those requests to some specific people who will be able to help you. And we'll share that in the handout as well. Let's see, anything else that
we had
anybody
some
has?
questions in the chat. So John Polo asked, what is the timeline for the on-card replacement? And I believe James answered in writing that it's September 12th. Is the timeline for implementation. And then we have Douglas Spike here. What is the best way to contact the chairs of the various areas of support? Are these people on it? Yeah, so contact information for our chapter support teams.
There's going to be, just as JW showed you, there's a drop-down menu now actually on our website. And if you have a question or a concern, whether it's membership, finance, certification, technology, whatever it might be, please go ahead and submit that question, and I will be fielding these to members of the respective support team. We don't want to have just one person handling all of the questions because we don't want to overwhelm our chapter leaders and our volunteers. But even though this program won't formally start until September, there's no reason why we can't start answering your questions now. I hope I've answered that. But what will the cost be for chapters for a new website if they aren't hosted on national anymore? I'm not sure. When you say hosted, I mean, Claire, the few pages that we created, if you looked at the links, some of them haven't even been updated in years. And I think it's because chapter leaders have switched hands and they didn't even know that was there, or the previous person before them did not share that page. It was a very basic, simple page. So if you need help with setting up a website domain, anything to do with creating websites, we can contact the technology committee and our technology specialists, and they'll be able to help you with that. Yes. And the same thing, Margaret, you need help getting an affordable new website and a person to design it and maintain it. We can help you with that. We can help you with that. Not to worry. Okay. It's new news to a lot of the smaller chapters. Yes, it is. It is. I don't know how often you go on and look at our websites, but some of our chapters who just felt they couldn't handle a website have created some wonderful Facebook pages. And often when you click on the name of a chapter, instead of it bringing you to their website, it brings you to their Facebook page, where they have robust information about upcoming programs. They might be introducing a new member, welcoming people. You might find a link to their newsletter there. We'd like everybody to eventually have a website, but if you've got a robust Facebook page, I think that's just fine. That's great for the time being. And if you need help setting up your Facebook page, well, our marketing and communications committee is there to help you. We've got some wonderful social media experts that can help you with that. Let's see, do we have anything else that I've forgotten, Felicia?
I don't think so. I think we hit everything. And if we did miss your question, please just repost it and we will get to you.
Yep.
Anybody?
One thing I did want to say before we leave tonight, and Josh, we've been talking about migrating over to our new software database, which is called IMIS, and all giving a big cheer when we can say so long farewell to OnCard. But that's not going to happen for a couple of months. And this is just a reminder, please, 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 if you have had your elections, or if you're going to have them before the end of June, please go into OnCard. You're going to have to go into OnCard and update your officer roster. And if you don't know how to do that, email me. Actually, there are directions on our leadership toolkits. You know, on our website, we have a wonderful tab that was created that says chapters. If you hover your cursor over that, there's a drop-down menu that says Chapter Leadership Toolkits, and there is a link there to how to update your officer roster. But we can certainly put that in the handout. But please, if you've had your elections, if you know you're going to have them completed by June 30th, please go ahead and update them, because after that, no one on your board will have access to get any reports, see who's a new member. And what ends up happening, and it isn't that we don't love you, is that Felicia, Dan, and I will be spending many, many days and hours manually entering your officer information because you forgot to do it. We love you, but if you can do this before June 30th, we'd really appreciate it. Any other questions? Okay, setting up an online newsletter. Okay, we can do that. Actually, the Durham Chapel Hill chapter has done a wonderful job. Kudos to Lynn Francisco, who is on our marketing and communications committee, who is the dean of Durham Chapel Hill chapter. She has got a great email. They lost their newsletter editor, and she has done a wonderful, wonderful weekly or bi-monthly email. And in that email is embedded is all the information that you need to have so that your members will be up to date. So let's see if we can't send that link out to everybody so that you can see what she's done, because it's really, really great. It's simple. And if you are struggling with newsletters, just for the time being, you can certainly use your emails to send out pertinent information. When will we be getting this handout? Probably within the next, I would say, 24 to 48 hours. So there will be a post-survey sent out to you. We hope you'll take a moment to fill it out. We want to hear from you. We want to help you as much as we can. Our lives have changed. I know everybody's tired of hearing about the new normal, but there is a new normal, and leadership that we know once might have been on the very top of your priorities may have sometimes or somehow over the last 3 years may not be at that very top now. You may have more responsibilities at your job. You may have had to relocate to get a better paying job. You may be dealing with family issues. You may be wanting to spend more time with your families. We understand that, and we want to make these leadership positions work for you. So let's continue the dialogue. Felicia and I are always available to speak with you, to chat, to set up a Zoom call. So don't be silent. Reach out for help and contact us. And I think that may be about it. So no, you will not be able to access OnCard to create your chapter directory after June 30th, Lars. So you've got to do it now. Sorry about that. But that's the way our system currently is set up. So I think I'm really just going to end now by saying thank you to everyone. Thank you to all our presenters who came on tonight. Thank you, Eileen. Thank you, Vicki. Thank you, Josh. Thank you, JW. Thank you, Mark. I feel like I'm playing Romper Room here, and that really dates me. Mary Stutz, Bonnie Lindner, Harold Stewart, Carl Kishling, Mark Anderson. We appreciate you taking time to introduce yourselves to our chapter leaders. And I hope to see you. We hope to see you at our next program, as I said, which is a week from Monday, which is going to be about the importance of including social and networking events in your year of programming. They're just as important as recitals and workshops. And we've got some people that are doing this quite well that are going to be on our panel to discuss this. So if I think that's it, I'm just going to say thank you to everyone. We appreciate you. We can't thank you enough for what you do. And I will just add to what James said in the beginning. For those of you who are outgoing chapter leaders, we really want to thank you for sticking through some hard times. Without our chapter officers, we would have no chapters. We are a chapter structured organization, and we really depend on you as the lifeblood of the AGO. So thank you all. Everybody stay well, be well. Don't hesitate to contact us. Thank you so much, and I'll say good night.